And we're live. I'm like, are we live or not? Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Second Chance Live series. I'm your host, Daryl Stinson, and I'm excited for you guys to be joining us today. I've got a guest with me. We're going to talk sports. We're going to talk depression. We're going to talk grit. We're going to talk leadership. We're going to talk, man. And you're going to listen like, because there's nothing else for you to do, but you can engage. You can hit that share button. And you can also host a watch party if you're on Facebook. We would appreciate that because that helps other people know that this content is valuable. So while I read his intro, it's your time to hit share. And if you have any questions throughout this time, feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll collect them and we'll make sure we answer them. How does that sound? If you like how that sounds, drop an emoji in the chat right now because I want to hear from you. I love to do these, but I'm tired of not seeing people. I miss people. I'm just gonna go like the first person I see today when I walk out of my office. I'm just gonna rub my face right on theirs. I'm not gonna do that. But my point is, I miss people, so I need to hear from you. Drop an emoji if you're there. So let me go with the bio. Here we go. Jeff Davis, aka Mr. Mountaintop. Oh my gosh, what is that? How did you get that nickname?
Oh man, do you know Nate Dogg, the late great Nate Dogg?
Yeah.
No joke, true story. His quote, his line from Eminem's song, "I've been to the mother effing mountaintop."
Yeah.
And that line just jacks me up so much that I actually embrace
Jeff,
the term mountaintop.
Did you gave yourself that nickname?
I gave myself that nickname.
Dude, I didn't know that was possible, man. I'm about to just start giving myself nicknames. Hey, if you want to give yourself a nickname, drop it in the chat right now. I'm gonna be macho. Like I don't know. They used to call me Goon. If you watch my TEDx talk, you would know that.
Yep.
Back to the bio. So, AKA Mr. Mountaintop, which we just found out is the name he gave himself, is an internationally respected authority on authentic leadership, self-leadership, and here's what we all need right now: overcoming adversity. He graduated from McDaniel College with a BA in economics and mathematics because he's much smarter than I, receiving all college honors and honors in economics while playing Division III baseball, which means I can beat him in baseball. He went on to receive I'm just kidding. I'll tell you a funny baseball story later, I promise. He went on to receive his master's degree from Johns Hopkins Carey Business School, completing a 2-year program in 1 year while working and publishing a book. This guy is a beast. He teaches and inspires the action steps needed to get better and improve as a leader, getting the most out of yourself and others. He has worked with some of the world's top experts, including yours truly, Daryl Stinson. One day that's going to be true, and has lived what he learned. His action strategies will, I repeat, will change your life. So right now, it's time for you to hit that share button. I see you, Rye from Denmark. Thank you for tuning in today. I know there's more people watching. I'm gonna have to go over to Facebook. Sometimes it doesn't sync up correctly, so I'm gonna come. I'm coming to where y'all are. I see somebody on Periscope watching. All right, I'm done talking, Jeff. I'm glad that you connected with us, and I can't wait to dig in. So why don't you let's do this. Tell us how you heard of me or Second Chance Athletes and what made you want to come on our live show.
Yeah, well, first of all, Daryl, it's an honor to be here. I'm very excited. I've been excited for this chat. It's going to be a good discussion, a great discussion. I first saw your TEDx talk, and you just crushed it out of the park. And I say this very sincerely, by the way. By the end of the talk, I was actually crying. It actually elicited emotion that it hit me so deeply. And I don't often cry seeing just any old talk. And I mean, I just felt compelled almost spiritually to reach out to you. Just something said, email Daryl. I wanted to feature you on my blog. And when I had reached out to you to ask you to feature you on my blog, you not only said you'd love to be on my blog, but you then invited me on the show. And when I saw what you're doing with everything with your business, with Second Chance Athletes, with the way you're showing up in the world. Man, was I inspired, and man, do I resonate. I mean, our messages are similar, and what we're doing in this world is similar. And I just felt inspired, and I was like, man, we're two peas in a pod. I really felt that way. I really felt like, all right, here is a guy who is just really helping people. I got to connect with him, and here we are.
Wow. Well, thank you for those kind words, and thank you, Team TEDx, for making me famous around the world and making Jeff cry. That's the whole objective, is to make men cry.
Yes.
And thank you for your transparency, man. I was raised that real men don't cry, and I'm probably one of the biggest crybabies you'll ever meet. Man, I did invite you because when you sent out that email asking to feature me on your blog, and you shared a little bit about your story, I was intrigued, and I felt the same. And so, man, tell us your story.
Absolutely. Well, this is the core of it, and I'll do my best to hit on those main points and keep it going, but I also want to touch on a few key elements just to give it context. So I'm 31 years old now. Let's go all the way back to when I'm a senior in high school. So I'm 17 years old, and the clinical depression started in the fall of my senior year when football, the sport you played for many years, went completely down the drain. Now, this is a long story that is for a different day. I wanted to provide that context that everyone told me senior year would be the best year of your life. And the coaches of my football team had some kind of vendetta against everyone in my class and my grade, really weird politics going on there. And that's where the depression started, because I was a wide receiver and a safety, and me and most of the people in my grade got benched for factors completely beyond our control. And, I had always dreamed senior year I would be a big football player. So that goes down the drain. And I was at a hyper competitive all boys private high school. And literally, Daryl, it was, if you play a sport, you're somebody. If you don't, you're a nobody. And I really bought into that, into my core. Everyone said this: teachers, guidance counselors, just everybody. And I was also experiencing a lot of both physical and verbal abuse. And now to kind of cut to the core of it. So spring of my senior year, I'm a college recruit baseball athlete. Got recruited by 7 different colleges and universities. And in tryouts, we were in a live scrimmage, last day of tryouts, and we're facing a Division I pitcher. And I'm not kidding or exaggerating. He was rated the #1 pitcher in the country at the high school level. He was the #1 prospect, Division I recruit. He was completely demolishing our team. I got up, crushed a double off of the left center field fence, almost a home run. My teammates are cheering me on. Everyone's telling me, Jeff, you're going to be a starter. I do really well in this scrimmage. We go back to the locker room. Coach doesn't call my name. I don't make the team. And I was so truly devastated to my core, because my whole, not only senior year, my whole high school years was building up to making that team. And after I did so well in the scrimmage, I thought I can finally be someone. My name doesn't called. I'm driving home. I got cut from the team, and I remember thinking, I'm nobody. I'm nothing. I'm worthless. And I had 100% of my self-worth to be on that team. And Daryl, I did not have, and I'm not exaggerating, not one person told me, hey, Jeff, it's no big deal if you don't make the team. I never heard that. I was completely inundated and brainwashed with, you have to be on this team to be somebody. And then the person who I thought was my best friend, he was a captain of the baseball team. He calls me on the phone. Now, I've had a dear friend of mine tell me, when I told him this story, he thinks it's tough love. But the person I thought was my best friend said, Jeff, I have to tell you, no one cares.
Are you serious? Holy crap!
100% serious, and I don't say that out of anger, and I don't harbor ill will, and I try to view this from an enlightened perspective. Okay, that was the best he knew how to support me, but he said no one cares. Couple nights later, this is after a year of clinical depression. I literally was very, very close to hanging myself. I was looking at the tree out back. I went to the garage, I pick up the rope, and I said, I've got to end it all. I have no way out of this. I'm worthless. I'm nobody. No one cares. I'm getting all this abuse from all different people. I need to kill myself. And some spark went off in the center of my soul and psyche. And I'm getting to the end here. A spark went off that said, Jeff, put down the rope, go back to your room. And I truly, truly believe, and I know this spark came from God. And I'm a deeply spiritual man, and God is my best friend. And God said to me in my heart, it was an intuitive feeling. It said, Jeff, someday you'll share this to help people. I don't know how that happened. It was just some spark in my mind and my soul. I put down the rope. I go back to my room, and then a few nights later, now I'm in deep meditation, and it wasn't an outer body experience, but it was deep meditation. And in that meditation, I realized your self-worth doesn't depend on external circumstances.
Yeah.
And that is my core message for your audience, Daryl. It's actually my core message for every audience that I can share this with. And no one told me that, not one person. And it took me being suicidal, almost hanging myself, and then going into this deep meditation where I didn't leave my body, but I sort of went into an energy field, and I realized everything is energy. And I realized what I've been hearing from my high school classmates is not true. Your self-worth is infinite. You are a child of God. You are here with a purpose. And no matter what happens in the external world, you are still worthy. No one taught me that. I taught it to myself through deep meditation. Thank you for letting me share that.
Dude. Holy cow. You can never come back again, because I don't like inviting speakers that are better than me. It plays on my insecurity. Man, I'm just kidding. Dude, what a powerful story. And, I was getting emotional listening because I know what that's like to be there and to feel hopeless and helpless. And I admire your courage, your strength to hang in there and to persevere to where you are today. And you're a survivor, man. And I just want to pause and recognize that and just honor that, man. So I'm zooming in so you can see my big nose.
Nice.
And I want you to know, man, I celebrate you. You're a warrior and you're a fighter. And I have the utmost honor for anyone who finds that amount of grit, because I used to, when I told my testimony, my story, I used to say that I never had the guts to pull the trigger. And as a speaker and a mental health advocate now, I don't say that anymore, because I realize it's actually the other way around. It takes more guts, more strength, more courage to hang in there when everything in you wants to quit than it does to throw on the towel. And I say that in full empathy of the people who did cave in. And so, man, I just wanted to pause and respect you and celebrate that, man. So, wow. So now, obviously, you're in a whole different place, working with some of the top experts in the world, best-selling book. You've got a core message that is in much alignment with what I teach. Dude, what's success for you?
Wow, that's a powerful question. Well, Daryl, I'm honored that you went into that moment with me and felt that pain and went there. I really received your words, and I wanted to thank you, because that also meant a lot. And I knew this would be a great discussion, and it certainly is living up to that and beyond that. So I wanted to thank you for that. What is success to you? It's really about breaking free from society and a lot of the, I'll just say it directly, a lot of the lies society tells you, and really defining success for yourself, knowing what your, not only your core values, but also what you truly think is important to you. And if you can spend time doing that, and you can separate from the society, because I believe our society is sharing a lot of really bad things, that's success. And it's easier said than done. And we're all works in progress, and I'm working on it every day, and there's ups and downs, and I have good days and I have bad days, and we all have things that we are obligated towards, and can't always be 100% on our own terms. But if you can pull your self-worth away from society, define what's important to you, and then focus on that, I believe you'll be truly successful.
I love it. What would you say is one lie that you see people believe about society or chase, because society tells them you need this to be successful? What would, if you had to name it, what would you name it?
External approval. External approval. That's what intuitively comes to me in this moment. External approval. And I can be as guilty of this as anyone. And this can be social media, getting more likes. This could be different groups we want to be a part of. We want to be accepted by certain people. We want people to applaud us. And don't get me wrong, it is a wonderful, wonderful feeling to get applause and support and encouragement from others. Wonderful. I love it. But you can't become reliant on it. You can't depend on it in order to feel good about yourself and in order to share your message. I saw an Instagram post actually from you, Daryl. It just popped into my head right now. I saw it, I believe, a few weeks ago, and I'm paraphrasing here off of memory, but you said that your call to create is not dependent on someone else liking it. And I would have to say that
good stuff, man. I said that.
You said that, man.
Making up stuff.
Love it. I was like, all right, Daryl gets it. And that external approval, it can really stop you because people, as Tim Ferriss says, people are very quick to stop you when you're getting started, and they're very slow to stop you once you've gotten going. I've experienced that myself.
Wow.
And you have to break free from that external approval. Very challenging, but also very important to share your unique message.
Wow. Love it, man. Dude, so you've had some success in best-selling book. There's two things I want to know. I want to know, number one, what do you think is your superpower? What has made you successful? And then number two, what have you learned from working with, Fortune 500 company or some of these top experts? Like, what do you see as a common success trait? And I know kind of with our definition of success, it's hard to say, but whatever, what do you see that has helped propel their life forward?
Yeah, those are very good questions. Very good. Okay, so the first one, what has really made me successful, or what's one trait or thing that I've done? And as you were saying that, I wanted to think of something specific and practical. So what comes to mind is asking for what you want. And a lot of people will hear this, and I say this completely respectfully, because it can be a challenging world, and they'll nod and say, yeah, I love that. And not everyone is living it. And what I would say, if I look back at some of past experiences and how I even got to the Netherlands, it was really asking for what I wanted. If you can get in the habit of asking for what you want, always do it respectfully and do it tactfully, but never be afraid to ask. And I've always, I wouldn't say that I'm particularly like I'm more skilled than someone else or more talented or I have more connections, but I've gotten into a habit of consistently asking for what I want. And I view everyone as my equal. This could be if I'm emailing with a billionaire. I've featured senators on my blog and in my books. Or it could be just like you, Daryl. If I'm also talking to help people at the prisons, or I've also interacted, and I say this completely lovingly, with gangsters. It's really about just viewing everyone as your equal, and then really stop being scared and just ask for what you want. And that quality, that tactic, I've done it so many times. It's amazing what that has led to. It seems very simple, deceptively simple, but very powerful if you live it.
So let's break that down a little bit, because that's a reoccurring theme of something that I'm learning, I would say, because one of my mentors, David Meltzer, I've got plenty. I probably have too many mentors, but David Meltzer always says, when I asked him the question of what, is the one thing you would tell your younger self, or like if you had to start over today, what you do differently, his response was, "Oh, that's easy." He said, "I'd ask for help."
Wow.
Sean Walchef, I know you said you watched bits and pieces of my interview with him.
Yep.
That's my guy, man. And I mean, his little saying is always, stay curious, ask questions. We say, stay curious, something else, and ask for help. Like, and so this,
or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, stay curious, stay hungry, ask for help. Yeah, that's right. And so, this asking for help concept is golden. Why don't you feel like people ask for help more? And then how does one get clear on what it is they want?
Yeah, I think one reason why people don't ask for help more is I think perhaps feeling a little bit intimidated or a little bit afraid or ruffling feathers, back to that external approval and that society thing. And I really want to say that I empathize with that, because it's very challenging. But I've noticed that a lot of people, Daryl, I've also spoken a lot and written a lot on authentic leadership. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people live the opposite of that. They want to control people. They live in fear, and mm-hmm. they're not really letting people express themselves. And that fear will actually often stop people from asking for what they want, because they're not willing to step on someone's toes. They're not willing to break out of that box. And I know you've talked about this a lot, Daryl. Being yourself really is truly breaking out of that box and truly being you. And it's very powerful when you do it. But yeah, that fear and that mindset, I don't want to offend others, that stops a lot of people. And it's quite sad, but I'm doing my best to help them break free of that.
Yeah. And let me, and just feed off me real quick so I don't take over the time, but my mind is churning. So I'm just going to follow this train real quick, because when I was processing this, because one of I don't know if it was David, but their response to me when I asked the same question to them, when they talked about asking other questions, they said, well, the reason why people don't ask questions is because they're insecure, or their ego's in the way. And I didn't feel like that was, because I was in a growing conversation, so I was trying to learn. And so I was like, I don't think that's it. I don't think it's that I'm too afraid to ask, or my ego's in the way, because I've done sales and cold so I don't think it's that. I think what it is I don't know what's okay to ask for. So everyone's in 2021 planning right now. Okay. And they're like, oh, set goals for the year and the quarter and all this stuff. And, I'm like, how do you balance faith in this big dream of what's possible, and then kind of realistic, and I think that's where it is for some people. I think people just struggle so much with clarity. And I'll give you an example. Yeah. Let's say, okay, I want to build a business and I'm starting out, and I know that I should charge, let's say, $5,000 for one-on-one coaching. I know that's probably industry standard or whatever, but I know that I'm just getting started. So I ask for maybe 500, or I don't ask at all, because I don't know if 500 is too little or 1,000 is too much, but I really should ask for 5. So I think it's this confusion around, what do I ask for in this season of my life or business, that really paralyze people, and confusion breeds stagnation. It paralyzes you. And so I don't know, man. I'm just kind of toying around here, because I think it will really help people if we can help them get clear on what they want. And when I was doing my podcast, it wasn't this live show, when I said yes, that was the whole theory of the podcast, is that when I studied the life of successful people and my own success, it always came to a yes moment. It wasn't about the strategy, the tactic. It was the moment where I got clear and I made a decision. So success is less about the tasks that we have to do and more about the decisions we need to make. But the problem is that people are confused about the decisions that they need to make. So I think it's important to help people figure out what they want so they can ask for help more. I don't know, man. What's your thoughts on that whole tangent I just went on?
Powerful. A lot of thoughts here. Yeah. I mean, asking specifically. So I actually want to share a couple things here. Yeah. Because you shared a lot of great stuff there with the leadership and with the self-leadership. And I'll pull this back into knowing what you want and the clarity with the self-leadership. it is really about balancing your vision with your behavior today. And don't get me wrong, vision is very important. Leadership experts will tell you you need the vision, and the vision pulls you toward it. Yes. And where I see a lot of people get caught up is that you then need the behavior and the habits today to make that happen. And in terms of that short term, okay, I have this goal, I want to write a book, but how am I making behavior today to make that happen? So that's sort of how you can use leadership, and then tying that back into asking for what you want. I love how you were saying, like, okay, people have these goals and then they have quarterly goals. Well, how can you ask specifically and being clear on how you're asking, when you're asking? And also, I love how you said making a decision. That was also very powerful to wrap this together with the self-leadership and with asking, is if you're clear on your decision internally, that actually, and I've experienced this myself truly, the universe really will support you, really, really will support you. I was working for a particular company. I do all sorts of contracts and consulting and jobs while I do the writing and the speaking and the coaching. And this company, this was pre-corona, did not allow people to work remotely. And before I had actually officially told them I'm moving to the Netherlands, I made an inner decision that I'm going to do it. I booked the flight before they even allowed it. And I made that inner decision, and it seemed like the whole universe was supporting that. I was very clear. I want to move to the Netherlands. This is where I'm being called. And it all seemed to align. And that may sound like, a little bit kumbaya. It really happens if you're clear on what you want, if you make that decision, if you ask specifically, and then if you can align your behavior today with what you want tomorrow.
Oh, man, that's good. That's good stuff. I agree with you. And those are really great perspectives. And, the other thing I'll just throw in there is sometimes we try to figure everything out before we take a step. And clarity always comes in action. And sometimes, and I'm all for planning and strategizing and all that stuff. In fact, I think that's one of my gifts is kind of strategy and innovation. But there's something about just getting out there and testing it out, seeing what feels right. So when you go out there and you ask for what you want, like you'll get clarity in the process of doing that. You'll feel like, man, I sold myself short on this, or man, I'm playing it safe, or man, I'm trying to impress others with this ask, like whatever that is. You have to self-reflect on those moments, but I just want you to get started. I don't want you to think like I gotta do all of this stuff, and then 10 years later, you're still thinking about it or fixing to. So anyway, somebody needs to make a decision today. That's why we're talking about that. Let's shift a little bit into, man. There's a couple of angles on. I kind of want to go back to the sports realm because I don't always get to talk to the athletes, man. And I'm curious. I know you read pieces of my book, but I'm curious to know, how has your perspective been on other athletes and their transition? And have you noticed struggles? And if so, what have you seen in their transition?
Yeah, well, I actually wrote this down from what you put in your book, the Athlete Transition Roadmap. I wanted to tell you, man, that's brilliant. I love that. It's actually what I wish I would have had. And I see a lot of athletes, and you've talked about this in your book. I saw you had that statistic where you said, I believe somewhere close to 80%, about 78% of NFL athletes are broke a couple years after leaving the NFL. And I want to piggyback off of your great insights there, that I'm seeing a lot of athletes become so addicted to defining their worth in terms of that sport that they're not cultivating more interests, more passions, more hobbies, more aspects to their lives. And this is what I share with athletes, that you will actually play better when you detach your self-worth from that sport. And that's the beauty here. That's the beauty here. That if you can stop being so addicted to being fully needing to do that sport, you actually play better. Then it flows through you very naturally. And that's what I love to share with athletes. And a lot of people struggle with that.
They do, man. And it's such a crazy paradox, but it's so true, man. You don't know till you just come out the other side, man. One of the things that stuck out to me when I was reading your intro earlier was that, getting the most out of yourself and others. And, I'm curious to know, like, how does one get the most out of themselves and others?
Yeah, that's a very important question, and a lot of people are asking. This really comes down to leadership. I mean, leadership, self-leadership, getting the most out of yourself, and then leadership is getting the most out of others and making them feel valued while achieving the goals of the organization. I would really encourage anyone who comes across this content in terms of really getting the most out of yourself is to look at your daily behavior, to use your self-discipline, and to really know why you're doing what you're doing. Of course, this is a well-known TEDx talk, Simon Sinek, Start With Why.
Yep.
And I would go even deeper. I would say, and I would encourage you, don't have one reason why. And here's where I want to take it to that next level. And I'll do this. I'll write it down. Have 5 or 10 or 20 or 50 reasons why you want to do something. And if you really know, okay, here's why I'm doing it, here's who it can help, you can then understand yourself better, and then therefore being clear on your purpose, being more self-disciplined, and implement that behavior today to get to your vision tomorrow. And I think that's very, very important. And when you're getting the most out of others, it's really getting them involved. Getting them involved in what you're doing and giving them a piece of the pie, letting them have input and letting them feel like their voice is being heard and letting them feel part of the team and feeling valued. And when those other people feel valued and respected, and what I share with companies and when I'm working with CEOs is to actually put your employees before money, power, and ego. So if you want to get the most out of your colleagues and your employees, then make them feel valued, let them be heard, let them be a part of adding insight and brainstorming into the project, and then put them before the client.
Right.
It may sound at first like, ooh, is this going to work? And I promise you, there are case studies. This is research that when you make employees feel valued, their nervous systems relax. I mean, this is science now. They will perform better. They will get more done. And then you're doing some incredible things and achieving the goals of the organization. So that would be my thought there.
Great stuff, man. I wholeheartedly endorse this message. Right out of the political campaign. I feel like I'm just gonna say that. Anyways, what's next for you?
Well, I'm working on another book. I've actually written 3 books so far. So I always have a book in the queue. So I have another book based on a challenging situation I went through in 2020. I was actually hesitant if it would come up or not, but I'm going to say it really, really briefly. But hey, every day you got to do something that scares you. I mean, this might be the first time I'm actually sharing this other than on social media. I defeated a corrupt organization here in the Netherlands with a team of lawyers, and they came at me very, very hard, and they actually harassed me and they threatened me. And what's next for me is to write a book about this experience, and I want to inspire others to stand up to corruption, because I see corruption happening all around the world. And a lot of people supported me on social media and talking to my friends on the phone. But this company, very corrupt. I was not the first person they did it to. But this is why I love your TEDx talk about projection. When people reject you, they're actually projecting. And what's next for me is to write a book about actually taking a Muhammad Ali punch at a corrupt organization. It's the Netherlands branch of a multi-billion euro corrupt conglomerate company. And I defeated them. And people said, Jeff, you've done something here that no one has ever really done. It's absurd, and I'm leaving a lot of details out. But I'm going to write a story about this, and I'm going to share it with millions of people.
Holy crap! So, so many things. So I have remind me, like I've got a connect for you, a media connect that is all for that, and she works for a pretty big news outlet. Okay. So, but she's all about that. And so I want to connect you with her. Dude, this has been phenomenal. Like, I could talk to you for like another 2 hours, man. I honestly, I'm at a loss for words right now. I am. I'm like, this is much better than like I thought it was gonna be. Like here's the thing. I'm always interested in my guest stories, but not a lot of people challenge me to my core, because they haven't had that suicidal battle, right? And like they can challenge my mind, but not like my soul, you know. And there's a depth that you have because you've been there, and you can hear it come through, and you're speaking, and you can tell that you've tapped into a higher purpose, and that you really are about transformational change and not just titles. And so it's really transparent, man. I just want to point that out. So I have no clue how to end this. my sister's right, like, what? Daryl's at a loss for words. All he does is talk. How about this? If all people could hear is the next 60 seconds of your talk, of our interview today, what do you want them to hear?
What I have to share with you is that your self-worth doesn't depend on external circumstances. I'll say it one more time. Your self-worth doesn't depend on external circumstances. Your self-worth.
So if no one likes my post, it doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Your self-worth is infinite, and this applies to, yes, sports, but not only sports. This can apply to a job that doesn't work out. This can apply to a relationship that doesn't work out. This can really apply to anything. Your self-worth is infinite, and it doesn't depend on external circumstances. Remember that, my friend, and you will be in very, very good spiritual hands.
Wow. I love it, man. Dude, this has been phenomenal. Brian, I see you, man. Britton, I see you. Shush something. I don't even know how to pronounce your name. I'm so sorry. Mrs. Ragland. I see you. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you guys. Man, your worth does not come from external circumstances. And what a great message that we need to hear, especially when external circumstances during the pandemic is getting like shattered.
Yep.
So I wholeheartedly agree. Man, I want people to connect with you. If someone's listening to this and they're like, man, that guy is phenomenal, he's better than Daryl. Well, how can they connect with you?
Best way to connect with me directly would be to email me. My website is jeffdspeaks.com, and you can also email me directly. I do respond to my emails, and that would be jeff@jeffdspeaks.com. So my first name @jeffdspeaks.com. If you want to connect with me directly, very happy to exchange some thoughts and share input.
I love it, man. Jeff, I was speaking in front of a group of let me rewind back. I was talking to a friend who was wanting me to get into addiction recovery nonprofit work, and I started to read the statistics and of the people who do not achieve long-term sobriety. And I got frustrated because I said, if I'm going to get into this, I'm going to change the stats. And then I start thinking about all the people who have been diagnosed with terminal illnesses, all the people who have come from just crazy humble beginnings, people who have fought mental illnesses like you and I, and how they defied the stats. So I can't think of a better way to end our time but to play the song Defy the
Love
Stats.
it.
Here we
Do you know what they say? That we can't make it this way. No, they told us that we'll never make it, but they don't know the God we serve.
I came out the womb defying stats. They was like, I don't know about that. I came out the streets defying stats. They was like, I don't know about that. Don't know about that. Don't know about that. Don't know about that. We still defying stats. Don't know about that. Don't know about that. Don't know about that. We still defying stats. They label me a statistic, I think they missed it. Selling drugs just to make a living. I was dealt a bad hand, but I still ripped it. I turned a couple of ounces into a whole business. You couldn't tell your boy nothing, I was so driven. Trying to make it to the league, headed straight to prison. It's crazy what we go.
Y'all show him some love in the comments. Thank you for coming out today. We appreciate you. Make sure you go check out Second Chance Athletes. Go get the book if you haven't grabbed it. Go visit his website. Go do something different as a result of what you heard today. We'll see you on the next stream with the next guest who's equally as amazing and awesome. Guys, we love you. Till next time. Peace.